Who do you want to be? It's one of the first questions people ask you when you're little, before you even know what it means. And every time it's asked, the answer changes. But when I say that, I don't mean it in the way that people usually think. Like, oh, I wanted to be an astronaut, a firefighter, a doctor. No, not like that. What I mean is, I've been many versions of myself since I was 3 or 4 years old. And every version of me has had this one thing in common. I was always pushing towards some kind of goalpost, some checkbox that I thought I had to hit to be valuable, to be respected, to be somebody, to feel like I was doing the right thing. Part of this is the culture we've grown up in. There's this pressure to always be locked in, and if you're not, well, you're rotting, and it's easy to think that way. It confirms all of the narratives that you're being fed, that you need to change something to feel differently about yourself, that there's something fundamentally wrong with you, that you just have to realize, and that one thing will be fixed. Sure, for some people who don't self reflect, that's the case, but for the rest of us, what if there isn't anything that's waiting to be realized? What if there's nothing that needs to be fixed? What if healing comes from embracing yourself as you are and doing what you truly want? But what do you want to do? This is the reality for a lot of people now, especially when you're young, when you're independent, when you're not locked into something. The number of choices is overwhelming. That's where the problem comes in. Because now, more than ever, it feels like you're putting on different labels from a closet. Like today I'll wear the software engineer label. Tomorrow, maybe the entrepreneur one. Or maybe I'm a creative now. And the thing is, every label has consequences. It's not just a hat you try on. It starts defining how people see you, how you see yourself, how you speak, the people that you talk with. And if you're not careful, you can build your entire life around an identity that isn't really yours. And here's the scary part. You might not even realize it. Because just like how body dysmorphia distorts how people see themselves physically, there's something similar that happens with identity. You can have this distorted mental image of yourself, one that's shaped by other people's expectations, by what you think you should be, instead of what you actually are. And if you spend years masking, playing a role, forcing yourself into a version of you that isn't real, you don't wake up one day and just fix it. It's not like one big moment of burnout where you realize, oh, I've been doing this all wrong. It's slow, it's subtle, it drains you just a little bit every day. A little energy there, a little authenticity there, until eventually you're so far from yourself that you don't even know what you actually looks like anymore. And this is where it gets even harder. Because if you grew up in an environment where survival was the default, where the only thing that mattered was not pissing someone off, or getting through the next day, next period, next test, next grade, next finals, you never really learn how to recognize this happening to you. You never learn how to ask yourself what you actually want. But you have to. Because this isn't just about figuring out who you are right now. It's about building a relationship with yourself that's strong enough to last when life starts making decisions for you. Because at some point, that's going to happen. At some point, you won't just be making choices for you. There will be other people involved. Partners, families, kids, friends, communities, jobs. You'll have responsibilities that actually matter, where indecision and uncertainty aren't just existential questions, but real-world consequences. And when that time comes, you need to be able to say, yes, I'm choosing this. Not because it's expected, not because it's the next logical step, but because I know it's right for me. And if you never build that skill, if you never learn to see your own patterns, to recognize when you're playing a role instead of being yourself, then when the time comes to make the next big, long-term decision, you're going to hesitate. You're going to be less confident, and you might find yourself in a life that feels off, even though on paper, it looks exactly how it's supposed to. So, what's the answer? Honestly, I don't think there is a single answer. But what I do know is this: you have to build awareness, you have to start noticing these cycles, these patterns, those little moments of disconnect where things just feel slightly off, because that's where the real question is. Not who do you want to be, like it's a final decision, but who are you becoming? Because whether you think about it or not, you are becoming something. You are making choices every day that shape your future self. The only real difference is, are you doing it consciously, or is it just happening to you?